I was introduced to DISC probably 20 years ago. And in that format, when I was newer and introduced to it, it was presented more as like a personality style. And now I look at it as a combination of personality and communication. And you start with an assessment which asks them, those questions that you're just answer the question, right? And then it gives you a report. I use the Maxwell leadership version of DISC, which ties in some of John Maxwell's teaching as well into the output. But without doing an assessment like DISC, we all have blind spots in our communication. I've got a literal one, so that's my reminder. But we all have blind spots in our communication. And one of them is often we assume that everybody communicates just like we do, and everybody receives communication just like we do. And that's just not reality. And particularly when you look at like the D, the more dominant personality, that often can be somebody that's in a CEO role, very quick, make decisions, talk quickly. They don't really spend time like engaging and getting to know people, not natural to them. So their blind spot is often people are not seeing them as caring about the whole team, wanting to listen to people because they're just quick and paced and moving. And so when you take the time to do the assessment with, for example, like a leadership team, we walked through the DISC assessment together, and it was really impactful to them because it helped the CEO to go, okay, there's only one other person on my team that is similar to me in a D profile. So I need to shift when I'm doing one-on-ones with them or talking with them to be conscious to my quick, fast-paced style is probably offending them. I need to spend a little more time to talk and ask questions or allow them to ask questions. And so I look at it as this analogy came to me the other day as I was going through Tim Elmore's book on habitudes. A lot of times we are determining, are we playing chess or checkers? So you use the same board to play chess or checkers. Chess, all the pieces are the same. It's very much the same. Chess, you need to understand all the pieces. They all have different ways that they move. And if you don't understand how each of the pieces work and their strengths and their weaknesses, you're not going to win. And I find that very similar to DISC. If you don't take the time to understand how all the people on your team are naturally wired to communicate, add value to the team, and lead, you're going to be playing checkers instead of playing chess. And to get the best out of your people, you really need to take the time to understand how you're wired and your blind spots, and also that same scenario for your team. And that's where I find DISC really powerful in helping teams to take their communication and how they work together to the next level.
Normally when teams go through the DISC process with you, the evaluation process, do you find that they, after the initial process in identifying various patterns on the team, personalities, blind spots, etc., do you find that they maintain it going forward, or they just went through the session and it's over?
So my goal is that I'm checking in with them a few times a month on reminders or tips. And so bringing back in, why we use this and why we do it. I also leave people at the end of their first session with a kind of a printout that they can put on if they're in person, right? They can put it on their cubicle. I'm Diana, I'm an IS, and this is how I like to be communicated to. And these are my strengths. And so it's there in visual. If you're virtual, you have a different way to put it in your internal team company chat. And then you're conscious of that when you're running meetings, and then also work with teams to put together a visual display of this is our team, this is how many D's, I's, S's, and C's. So you're reminded, right, when you head to a meeting and it goes on and on and on, nobody's hitting to a decision, you look at who you're meeting with, there's no D in the room. So somebody has to shift to play that role, or you're never going to get out of the meeting or accomplish anything. And just continuously working with the teams on how they apply it and how they use it and make it visible as a reminder.